Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. It's no secret that the Cooler Master MK750 is one of my favourite keyboards, and it's a keyboard that I daily drove for about 2 years. And with that in mind, Cooler Master also made a 10 keyless version of it as well, the MK730. Now, the MK730's been out for quite a while, but I hadn't actually got my hands on it till quite recently. Mainly because for my use case, 10 keyless keyboards don't really work for me, except for our new gaming and streaming setup. It's actually the perfect use case. So I wanted to see if the things that I liked about the MK750 translated into its 10 keyless brother, the MK730, and if I could use a 10 keyless keyboard as my preferred keyboard for gaming. I wanted to mention this right at the start as well, so you don't get confused about what this video is actually about. This video is not sponsored by Cooler Master. I was weighing up which 10 keyless keyboards I wanted to use for our new streaming and gaming setup, and they sent us the MK730 for review, since on paper, it ticks all of the boxes for things that I like about gaming keyboards. I was daily driving the MK750 from around the start of 2018 up until really recently when I switched from the MK750 to a Logitech keyboard. And the main reason why I switched to the Logitech keyboard is because the Logitech keyboard is wireless. And yeah, it's not to say that the MK750 is a bad keyboard, it's an excellent keyboard, but my use case changed, and I'm sure this happens with you guys as well. Now back to the MK730, it's a pretty heavy mechanical keyboard, and it's exactly how I like my keyboards. I like them to be heavy, and the standout feature for me and most of Cooler Master's keyboards, and they've been doing this really well over the last few years, is soft padded wrist rest, which the MK730 also has, which is nice. And it's got a decently strong magnet that attaches to the bottom of the keyboard, which is really handy if you're doing something on your desk and you want to like make more desk space. You can disconnect the wrist rest and it's not clipped in, and I've always really liked this type of solution. Now the construction is pretty good too, and it's got this aluminium top plate with a floating keycap design. It's got RGB accents along both of the sides and along the bottom where the magnetic wrist rest attaches, and yeah, it's literally identical to the MK750 in every single way. It even also has that awesome removable USB Type-C cable. Any peripherals with removable cables, that's my jam. Anyway, let's switch it up and talk about those switches. Now, I used to swear by brown switches for absolutely everything, but over the last year or so, I've actually really started to like red switches. Now I can only really game on red switches, so the version that I requested was the red switch version. No surprises there. The MK730 also comes in MX browns and blues as well. And like most keyboards you're seeing in 2020, the MK730 also has per key RGB lighting, and if it didn't, I think most people would be pretty surprised, and yeah, that can either be configured in software or on the keyboard itself. And speaking of the software, for keyboards, it's decent enough, but I'm not really a fan of it. I've covered their software in lots of other Cooler Master keyboard videos, so I'm not going to dive into it with this video. What I'll do is I'll put a link to some of our other Cooler Master keyboard videos so you can check out how the software works. Almost all of the Cooler Master keyboards, including the MK730 keyboards and anything in that era, have the exact same software. Yeah, so, and they're all configurable in the same way. And with saying that though, the great thing that I've always liked about Cooler Master keyboards, and this keyboard in particular, is you don't need to use the software at all, and you can literally do everything on the keyboard. So I never actually end up installing the software for these keyboards at all. Yeah, now lastly, speaking of things on the keyboard, I wanted to talk about media keys. The MK730 doesn't have dedicated media keys like the MK750, but this is obviously for packaging reasons, to make the keyboard physically smaller. Usually this would annoy me, but yeah, I'm not using this for listening to music. I'm using it for gaming, so it doesn't bother me. And if I really want to listen to music when I game, I can just like map it to my Stream Deck anyway, so it's not a real big deal. Anyway, that's all the technical stuff out of the way. But how is the MK730 as a gaming keyboard? Because that is the primary use case for this keyboard. Now, I've been gaming on it for about a week, and I've basically only been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and my experience with it has been mostly positive. And I say mostly positive because over the last year, while I've primarily been gaming on the MK850, I developed some really bad habits, and these are bad habits that are completely self-inflicted. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I actually spoke to a few people in our Discord about switching to tenkeyless keyboards, and some of them had the same issues when they decided to switch. My worst habit by far is when I use the enter/return key on the numpad. I usually use that a lot when I game and when I'm doing stuff. So when I go to a tenkeyless keyboard, I basically stab my fingers into the desk. Other than that though, I can see why people use tenkeyless keyboards. I was a little skeptical at first, but the extra desk space and the shorter distance between my hands actually makes me play better. And for extended gaming sessions, it also feels better too. And overall, I personally think that moving to tenkeyless was really good. And exclusively for gaming, I think it was a good idea. Now I've used plenty of tenkeyless keyboards, and if you're new here, you can check out our keyboards playlist to see how many we've covered. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. And tenkeyless isn't something that I thought that I would commit to, but I'm gonna say it, I think I was wrong. And with saying that, the MK730 is a decent option if you're looking at going down that path. And the reason why I chose the MK730 over all of the other tenkeyless keyboards, and this is rooted back to something that I said earlier in the video, it's that padded magnetic wrist rest. Once you've used one, it's just really hard to go back. Yeah. If you guys are interested in grabbing one of these keyboards for yourself, there's a link in the description down below. Right now they're going for around 130 US dollars or around 159 Australian dollars at the time of filming. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Consider supporting the channel by hitting that join button or joining us on FLOATPLANE. If you didn't like this video, you know what to do, and tell us what you hated about it. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek. And ladies and gents, this is not our streaming/gaming setup in its final form. I've just been playing in here to test it out. There is more parts of the video series coming, so stay tuned, and I got you. Thanks for watching.